The best. You want Steel rubber products.
You know, they say in life we should savor and slow down and enjoy things. That's what our hosts Steve Andrews and Sally James do on Slow Living Radio. They do everything slowly, and they do it for you Saturday and Sunday at 2 p.m., Tuesdays at 11 p.m., and Monday nights at 7 p.m. It's Slow Living Radio, the best in food, the best in entertainment, the best in drinks, including great wine. All with Sally James and Steve Andrews. Slow Living Radio on CRN.
Live across America, the PM Show with Mike Horn on CRN Digital Talk Radio.
Thank you. Welcome to the show. I'm Michael Horn, as mentioned. It is the PM Show Weekend Edition. Just getting some last-minute comments from the great Tomas, who is pressing all the buttons, producing our show. Our executive producer, Courtney Cadera. A great show today. Yes, indeed. We have legendary Hall of Fame broadcaster for the Los Angeles Kings, Bob Miller, on air with us, and he's going to be honored, I believe, tomorrow, Saturday night. We do this show live on Fridays, and then it plays throughout the weekend. He is going to receive the Radio Television News Association's Lifetime Achievement Award for, among other things, 41 years broadcasting for the Los Angeles Kings. That's why he's a Hall of Famer. So that's a great honor, and that's going to be, I think, a big deal at Universal Studios this coming Saturday night. So that's very good. I think he's got a few days off. I think it's the hockey all-star game. I want the season just to continue, but the Kings need a break. We'll talk to him about hockey in general, especially the Kings. If you follow them, they've won 2 Stanley Cups in 3 years. And this year they've been tying some of the games, but not winning them. So if you play to a tie, you get 1 point. If you win, you get 2 points. If you lose, you get nothing. So they get 1 point because they tie, but they're usually leading in that game and end up just tying and then losing it, either in overtime or during the shootout. And something's got to change. Good coffee today, by the way, in the studio. We had a problem here, and I don't know if this happens to you, at the CRN Broadcast Center. The coffee machine broke down. We had one of those K-Cup machines, the Keurig, as they call them. I believe invented by some Finnish hockey player. It sounds, Swedish or Finnish or something. And so it just sort of blew up. I understand there was a story that went out that said they were spewing the hot, boiling water over people. We didn't have that problem. It just stopped working. So we're going to have to find something. I have to go back to the old brew it in the old pot situation, which is kind of good. Today, the famed broadcaster Rick Dees was honored in Southern California, and I was in attendance along with a contingent of our CRN staff to honor one of the great radio broadcasters. And there's a connection between Rick Dees and our guest today, Bob Miller, brought up by one of the people who spoke at the event. So that's going to be kind of fun to talk about that. Also, what else do we have to talk about here? A lot of stories and things going on over the weekend. We mentioned last week that Fox is wondering whether they should continue if they're going to bring back the X-Files. It looks like there's a good chance that it come back. Chris Carter created the series. He would produce it, bring it back. David Duchovny and Gillian Anderson would reprise their roles on the show. And so it looks like that may happen, but we haven't had the final okay on that from Fox. And then they said they might do another 24 episode, either 24 or 12 episodes, but without possibly Kiefer Sutherland as Jack Bauer, and I can't fathom that. I cannot. Some people have never seen the series 24. If you watch 1 or 2 episodes, you'll be hooked on it. Get the first season. There's probably about 6 or 7 seasons. You'll be hooked. Totally. Did you watch it, Tomas? Have you watched 24 before? I believe you're one of those that has not watched it. Oh, you have? You're hooked on it?
Not as hooked as you.
You don't want to see like an episode after an episode?
It depends on my mood.
Also, I viewed the new Jennifer Lopez movie, The Boy Next Door. You'll go see it because Jennifer Lopez is in it. By the way, you got our audio up in your channel there. Then pull that off. Thank you, Tomas. Always like to go ahead and oversee over your shoulder from this studio. Wait a minute. Now what are you saying?
I noticed.
Thank you. Okay, anyway, I saw the new Jennifer Lopez movie, and you'll see it because Jennifer Lopez is in it, but it's kind of like sort of out there. There's suspense in it, yes, but it's a little stretch. Not the total suspense I think that they wanted to make, a little bit too far-fetched to believe. Anyway, we continue straight ahead here, the PM Show Weekend Edition on CRN.
In 2002, a National Sleep Foundation poll found that 63% of women had trouble sleeping. Hi, how in the world are you anyway? I'm Andy Willoughby. In my opinion, a major reason for insomnia is the Blue Card. It's a shopping and loyalty card, and it's free. That's right, free, no charge, nada. With the Blue Card, you can receive up to 5% cash back on purchases. Most cards only offer 2% at most. No wonder girls can't sleep. With the Blue Card, you can also get shopping points that you could use for online purchases. So it's cash back and shopping points. Am I keeping you awake? If you refer the Blue Card to someone else, you could even earn money on their purchases. No, I'm serious. It's true. But it gets better. If you share the Blue Card with a merchant, you could earn on the purchases of everyone who uses the Blue Card at their store. There is no way you're going to get any sleep until you get your own free Blue Card. So call 800-316-7362 and order your free Blue Card so you can rest easy again. Call 800-316-7362.
Weekend edition of the PM Show on CRN Digital Talk Radio. I'm Michael Horn. Glad to have you with us today. Tomas producing the show. Courtney Cadera, executive producer. We are honored today to have my buddy on here, and he is a great man. 41 years broadcasting Los Angeles Kings hockey games, and it was a long drought before the Stanley Cup, and now 2 Stanley Cups in 3 years for the Kings. They've got a little bit of a spot there now. We'll talk to Bob about that as well, but he's going to be honored this weekend, this Saturday, I believe, Universal Studios, at the hotel there, for the Radio TV, Lifetime Achievement Award. The Radio TV and News Association's Lifetime Achievement Award, in part for his 41 years broadcasting with the Kings and his achievements, and it's, certain things come to a broadcaster over the years that, signify greatness without an award, and something happened today, and we'll talk about it when we get to Bob Miller here as we bring him in the show. Bob Miller, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Mike. Always nice to be with you, and thank you for the nice things you always say about our telecast.
Well, you're a good man, and I have to tell you, you were mentioned. I should tell you, you and Rick Dees share something in common. I didn't know if and you're probably not aware of that, are you?
No, I'm not.
So Rick Dees was honored today by the Pacific Pioneer Broadcasters, and there was a group of dignitaries, Fritz Coleman among others up there, and Tim Conway Jr. got up. And Tim Conway Jr. said that Rick Dees, and then he quickly stopped, and he said, and Bob Miller are the reason I am in broadcasting. He listened to you as well, not that much of a youngster, because you're just a youngster yourself there, Bob Miller, but he listened to you. He said he was a kid when he listened to Rick Dees. He would drive and take classes in San Diego, miss the traffic, stop in Dana Point, California, listen on the hill to Rick Dees, and find out that it really was great to have someone with just humor and not politics and not an agenda on radio in the morning. And he said Bob Miller also, because of his greatness with the Kings, got him into broadcasting. And I think that, among other things, is sometimes a bigger honor than even the award, to hear that from fellow broadcasters, is it not?
Well, it is. It's very nice of Tim to say that, and actually I had heard him say that before because he was interviewed on the documentary film that was recently shown at LA Live at Regal Theaters, and he said that. He said in the old days at the Forum, when he was a youngster, younger than I am, obviously, he said he would walk around that walkway that went all the way around the Forum and stand right below where I was broadcasting Kings hockey, and he said I would just lean against the wall and listen to Bob do the game, and that got me interested in getting into radio. And so I had heard it before, but I didn't know he said it today, but it's very nice of him to say that.
And I had heard it before in that very same movie, and it was just because of hearing it before, it meant even more to me because he stopped himself as he was complimenting Rick Dees and quickly added Bob Miller in there as well. And we should mention that there is a DVD out now, kind of talking about your life story, but about your years with the Kings. Is it available online? Can people order up this DVD that was put together, this documentary that was put together about you?
Yeah, they could check online. I am not sure if it's available online. I know it's available at the LA Kings games at Staples Center, in the team store, and at the souvenir stands in the building. it's available, and all the proceeds from the sale of it go to the King's Care Foundation, which devotes a lot of help and money to needless people and families in L.A., and so we're always happy to help them out. It's called Voice of the King, and it's on DVD, but I really, sorry I can't tell you whether people have found it on Amazon or somewhere online. I'm just not sure whether it's available
I know
there.
You can search for it, even like things like Flickster, where you look for movies and it'll come up and tell you, if it's playing somewhere or if it's in DVD or whatever. So I think if you searched it, Voice of the King /Bob Miller would come up. And it's a great documentary put together. It's got Wayne Gretzky in it and Luc Robitaille and all the King's broadcast team, Jim Fox and Nick Nixon and Darrell Evans and all the people that get there, and Bob's family and his wife Judy and his kids, everybody on this video, and it just is a great thing to see somebody who is passionate about what they do and to see great things happen. Now, you're going to be honored. Again, this Saturday, I believe at Universal Studios, am I right?
Well, it's going to be at the Universal Hilton on the hill going up toward Universal Studios, the Universal Hilton, and I am really looking forward to tomorrow night, and it's a very nice honor from the Radio Television News Association of Southern California, a Lifetime Achievement Award. And I think you're right, Mike, if you stick around somewhere long enough, some of these accolades start coming your way, and I'm very appreciative of everything that has happened to me in broadcasting. It's now 54 years that I've been in radio and TV, and just still get excited about doing live television every time we have a Kings telecast.
And you've done, they say, over 3,000 games. Do you know the exact number? Do you count them? Are you like, you used to be a newsman that would say, and now the 5,491 broadcasts for Harrison Frank. You don't do anything like that. Do you know the exact number?
No, I did for a while, and I've got a list. I've got to go back and bring it up to date. I haven't brought it up to date the last couple of years, but it is well over 3,000 games, and every night when that game is ready to start, I get excited about what I'm going to see that night. Sometimes you're disappointed. Sometimes it's the highlight of your day and maybe of the whole year. So, and as you said, with 2 Stanley Cups in the last 3 seasons, things I thought I might never see in my career before I had to retire, those certainly are the highlights of those 54 years.
Now, not only for just broadcasting, but for anybody that's worked on the job for a long period of time, because you and I worked together many years ago at KFI when the Kings were on that network, or that radio station in Los Angeles, 640 KFI, and then later on at 1110 KRLA, that's kind of where we really got to know each other, producing games. And, now, of course, you're on television. And so my thought is, how do you keep it? You seem like when you see, I've watched you outside the Nick Nixon Media Center talking to fans, they want to take pictures. You really are into the game, almost like a member of the team, almost like watching, wondering how things work, why they're not working, getting kind of your view. In fact, I always think teams should talk to the announcers because they may give them better insight from their vantage point. How do you stay enthusiastic after, 54 years, as you mentioned, doing sports broadcasting?
Well, like I say, I think every night you go to work and you think, what am I going to see tonight that maybe I've never seen before or ever have a chance to describe before? Because it's sports, and these are human beings. They're not robots. We don't know what's going to happen. And I've always said that I would rather be with a team, and yes, you go through the highs and you go through the lows, and there are disappointments, and yet when that team is successful, it's such a great feeling. I'd rather do that than be someone who is assigned to different teams each week, and you really aren't invested in who wins or who loses. I'd rather, even if it's a disappointment, have that rather than not care who wins the game that I'm broadcasting. So I really enjoyed being with a team for that many years and seeing that team and have the success that they've had. Being
part of that team, and you are part of that organization. Is it true that they have given you a lifetime broadcasting contract at the Kings?
Well, at my 25th anniversary of the Kings, they gave me a lifetime contract. The only thing I wasn't sure whose lifetime it was.
Thank you very much, Bob. Thank you. 2 shows nightly. You try the veal, please. That's Bob Miller. Always got a good attitude about him, and he's always got I don't know where he gets them, but he's always got a new joke and never repeats an old one. Can you hang on one more segment?
Sure, you bet.
All righty, Bob Miller's with us here. We're talking about a great honor he's got coming up Saturday night, a Lifetime Achievement Award from his peers.
The Showroom at South Point presents singer-songwriter Tommy Rowe. Remember?
Sweet little Sheila, you'll know her if you see
Tommy Rowe, live on stage January 23rd through the 25th. Tickets at the box office, online at SouthPointCasino.com, or charged by phone, 702-797-8055. Tommy Rowe at the South Point.
jelly tight. You look a little naughty, but you're so polite.
Your home of great comedy. The Showroom at South Point presents a jam-packed evening of some of the best all on one stage.
Hey, it's me, Bobby Slate, pitbull of comedy. What are you doing?
Joining Bobby are Jackie Jokeman Martling and Stuttering John from The Howard Stern Show. Need a laugh? You need to be here. January 30th and 31st. Tickets at the box office, online at SouthPointCasino.com, or just charged by phone, 702-797-8055. Comedian Bobby Slayton with special guests from The Howard Stern Show at the South Point. Must be 18 or over.
What are you doing?
So we're going to talk about Dandy Don's Ice Cream Sundae Bar in a Box. The Sundae Bar in a Box is $149.95. What that is 25 ice cream sundaes and all the toppings, all shipped to you with dry ice overnight. And you can have your own sundae bar. 25 scoops of ice cream, and you choose the flavors. 10 toppings, which is hot fudge, hot caramel, strawberry, marshmallow, whipped cream, stem cherries, rainbow sprinkles, chocolate sprinkles, peanuts, almonds, M&Ms, Oreos, granola, chopped up sugar cones. How do you get it? You go online to dandydons.com, DANDYDONS.com, and click on ice cream sundae bars. Like I said, you can pick your own ice cream flavors. Choose your own ice cream flavors. And what does it cost? $149.95 plus shipping. Go to dandydons.com and order it. DANDYDONS, Dandy Don's homemade ice cream. Bye.
Trying to sell your old car? Instead, donate your vehicle to Heritage for the Blind. Pickup is free and your donation is tax deductible. Just call 1-800-785-9618. Heritage for the Blind accepts cars, vans, trucks, and boats, whether they run or not. Call right now and receive a free 3-day vacation voucher to over 50 locations. Call 1-800-785-9618. Donate your car today. That's 1-800-785-9618.
Hi, this is Ron Sedgy, inviting you to join me for The Tonight Show of Radio every Saturday night, 9 to 11 Pacific Standard Time on CRN Digital Talk Radio. Now in our 24th year and well over 19,000 guests, The Ron Sedgy Show live originates from our Universal Radio studios. Celebrities from TV, music, movies, literature, politics, and show business, at one time or another, they all come to The Ron Sedgy Show. So why don't you?
PM Show Weekend Edition, CRN Digital Talk Radio. Hi to all of our great listeners on cable systems and radio stations across the country. I'm Michael Horn. Paul Stern on assignment today. We have the great legendary Bob Miller with us, voice of the Los Angeles Kings. Bob with an interesting career. And, Bob, correct me if I'm wrong here on this, but, as I recall, you went to the University of Iowa, but you started doing some games there on the campus station, but you really cut your teeth, as I recall, in Wisconsin, right? Really doing a lot of games there.
Yeah, that's right. I went to the University of Iowa. They've got a wonderful campus radio station, 5,000 watts, had a good reach, and the nice thing about it was they allowed students to do almost all of the on-the-air work. So when you got there, all of us were bad and made mistakes, but you got a chance the next day to come back and do it again and again and again, and that's the only way you would improve. So I got a great opportunity there, and then was working in Milwaukee for a while, and then Madison, Wisconsin, and in Madison doing Wisconsin football play-by-play, and then the hockey team got really good at Wisconsin, and they said, by the way, this weekend we're doing hockey and you're doing the play-by-play. which I had never done play-by-play of hockey before, and fell in love with it. The first game I did, it was the most challenging play-by-play that I had ever done, and wanted to pursue it from then on.
I listen to you. It's got to become second nature, and I'm also a broadcaster, and I think about this. I remember I worked at a station one time, and the guy that was doing the races he says, "You going to fill in for me, you're going to do this," and I'm thinking, like, how does he know? He would know the different colors that the jockeys would have and be able to call it. Very much the same thing in hockey. You do a TV broadcast, but it goes by quickly on TV, so you almost have to help the viewer know who's got the puck, where, and when. What do you do? Is there a trick to it? Is it just that the action is so quickly? I know you're following the puck, and that's what we're watching. You and Jim Fox do an extremely excellent job there. But what's the key to that? Why did you fall in love with hockey when you did that game?
Well, I think what I fell in love with was trying to see if I could keep up with the speed of the game, and yet, especially on radio, at a pace where the radio listener can follow it. You could talk so fast that nobody'd know what you're saying, but that would defeat the purpose. So it's preparation, it's memorizing numbers, especially you've got your own team probably, you do them every night, but the visiting team, memorize those numbers, and then the key to play-by-play is something that for some reason a lot of people cannot do. Cannot look at something and simply describe what they're looking at.
That's the key.
Yeah, that's all you're doing is and of course you put in a few phrases and a few descriptive words, but it was somebody, I think it might have been Al Michaels or somebody who said when he grew up, he would do play-by-play of his mother vacuuming. She's under the chair, now she's moving under the dining room table, and now over to her right. And it's simply describing what you're looking at, but being prepared and keeping up with the speed of that game. And that's what thrilled me to see if I could do that. And you're on your own. You can't use spotters. The puck changes hands so much.
Right.
So you really are on your own, and when they drop the puck, you're either prepared or you're not. And if you're not, it's pretty apparent right off the bat. So there once was I think it was a baseball announcer, Bob Prince in Pittsburgh. And he was
famous guy from Pittsburgh, yeah.
Great baseball announcer. And when they got the Pittsburgh NHL team in hockey, they thought, we should have Bob Prince come on because he's well known and everybody likes him. And they told me, I didn't hear this, but they told me his first hockey play-by-play went like this. Well, there's the face-off. Now they've got it. Nope, we've got it. Nope, they've got it again. So it didn't last too long with him on hockey, but it is I think, and I hope people don't think I'm saying that just because I do it, I think it is the most difficult sport to keep up with because of the pace of the game and the substitutions where you don't need a whistle to substitute. You've got players jumping on and off the ice. I will say something you mentioned before, and I've been out at Santa Anita, I've talked to Trevor Denman, I've been up in his booth, and that is something I don't think I could do, because every 25 minutes or so, he's got another maybe 12 or 18 horses with different colors, and he's got to know who they are. At least in the sports business that I do, you get a lineup, and it changes who's on the ice and who's off, but the colors don't change, the numbers don't change, and I told him, I said, I don't know how you do it. He does such a tremendous job. I think that is maybe even tougher than hockey.
All right, Bob, one more segment, Bob. Can you do one more?
Yeah, sure.
All right, we got one more segment here. We always stretch it with Bob. I know we only had two, but we're just we're pleased as punch that, just desserts are coming for someone who has had such a great career and just loves what you do. And I think when you get the awards, when you love what you do, that's where it shows. And you can tell in this interview, Bob is just passionate about the game. We'll take a quick break. Again, coming up this Saturday night, the Radio TV News Association's Lifetime Achievement Award is going to go to Bob Miller of the Los Angeles Kings, and it's justly deserved. We'll have more straight ahead. Homeowners, now is the season to be thinking about your roof, because all it takes is one storm to turn a small roof problem into a major leak. If it's time for a new roof, call Sears at 888-465-9720. You can save $500 if you call right now. Sears licensed, fully insured contractors can get your roofing job done right. Just call 888-465-9720. Sears has a variety of shingles and styles that are built for long-lasting performance, and you'll save $500 if you call now. So call Sears for a free and
in-home consultation at 888-465-9720. Hurry, offer ends soon. Not available in all areas. Installation provided by Sears Authorized Licensed Contractors. License information available upon request. That's Sears Roofing. Call right now and save $500. Call 888-465-9720. 888-465-9720. Call Sears now and get that roof repaired. Call 888-465-9720.
Do you have unfiled tax returns or owe the IRS or state more than $10,000? If you don't take action now, your tax problem is going to get worse. Much worse. Seizure of property, bank levies, wage garnishments, and potential criminal prosecution. And if you owe the IRS back payroll taxes, chances are you will be visited at your home or business by an IRS agent. Don't become paralyzed by fear. Take action now. Call the experts at U.S. Tax Shield for help. Our team of experienced tax attorneys can get you protected, stop collections, and negotiate a permanent settlement with the IRS and state, potentially saving you thousands of dollars. At U.S. Tax Shield, our tax advisors will review your case for free, inform you of your rights, and give you a guaranteed quote. No games and no tricky upsells. That's why we have an A+ rating with the Better Business Bureau and thousands of satisfied clients. Put an end to your torment. Get protected. Get the Shield. Call U.S. Tax Shield now at 800-211-8753. That's 800-211-8753. 800-211-8753.
Hi, I'm Joan London, and if you're worried about your parent or a loved one living alone like I was, and you want reliable senior care information, then call A Place for Mom, the nation's largest senior living referral service. You'll get free information on assisted living, Alzheimer's care, nursing homes, even important financial information.
They had obviously researched every place, not just given me names.
Really?
They found me a place for what she could afford, and it was magnificent.
We're now very confident that she's safe, and they just helped every step of the way, and I can't thank them enough.
So if you're struggling to find reliable senior living information, call A Place for Mom. This is a free service, and you can trust them to help you.
If you're struggling to find reliable senior living information for your mom or dad, then call or go online to get the free help you need during this turbulent time. Call now, 800-471-5173, 800-471-5173.
Lose the winter blues and warm up with hot flooring deals from Lumber Liquidators. Thinking about hardwood? Consider Bamboo. We've got the #1 brand and we'll help you get it for less. Like Strand Bamboo. It's twice as hard as oak, and for a limited time it's only $1.99. Why pay as much as $4.99 for bamboo at other stores? We've got deals on over 70 styles from an incredible $179. Plus pre-finished hardwood, laminate, and more for less than half what you'll pay somewhere else. And 18-month special financing. Now is the time to warm up your home with new floors. So visit LumberLiquidators.com to find a store near you.
Chuck Lauder here, host of the original Talkback. Noon to 2 p.m. Pacific Daylight Savings Time, 3 to 5 out there on the East Coast. You know, we cover everything you need to know to keep up with what they don't want you to know. Talkback, CRN, Digital Talk, noon to 2 Pacific Daylight Savings Time.
PM Show Weekend Edition, CRN Digital Talk Radio. I'm Michael Horn-Palstra on assignment. Thanks for joining us here on the show. Bob Miller is with us, voice of the Los Angeles Kings, this Saturday. And we do this show live on Friday. It runs throughout the weekend on a lot of stations around the country. So if you're hearing this, Bob Miller Saturday night receiving a great honor from the Radio TV News Association, a Lifetime Achievement Award. 41 years broadcasting games with the Kings, 54 years broadcasting in general. The Kings have won 2 Stanley Cups in the last 3 years, kind of exciting. And among other things, we're talking about how you keep your job exciting. And as you said, Bob, you go to the game, you watch it, you stay with the same team, you kind of get to know the players. So you know ups and downs. Years ago, Jerry Coleman, an old baseball player, was announcing for the Padres, and then they took him out of the booth and had him manage the Padres for a while in San Diego. Yeah, did the coach ever talk to you? You must talk on the planes or whatever. Do they ever ask you guys questions as to, you know, you and Jim Fox calls all these things and sees a lot of stuff up there, which really, sometimes when I'm at the games, I wish I had, you know, listen to the TV at the same time. I mean, do they question you and get ideas from you?
Well, they don't talk to me about strategy. They might ask Jim once in a while, being an ex-player, but and I would not assume, Mike, to even think that I could give coaches tips on
but
what
you
I
see
think
it,
should happen.
Bob, you see it. You and I have talked about this. You can see when the team seems to kind of be like going through the motions, when there's more intensity, when maybe there's a mental thing where you think there might be a little stress going on or something. You, 54 years, you see that.
Well, I think they see it too, Mike, down on the bench, and and I think they have a better idea of what they've asked players to do, obviously, in a game, and is the player doing that, and they have more knowledge about I will ever have, really, from doing a broadcast. So I would never assume to tell Darryl Sutter or any coach, here's what I think you should do.
Nor would I. I've seen his press conferences. I would not want to be thrown out of the room. I'll tell you that right now. Okay, so that being said, what's with the Kings now? 2 Stanley Cups in a couple of years. They seem to really come around when it's like playoff time. But all of a sudden, a little bit of a flat spot here where I mentioned at the beginning of the broadcast before you were here on the show, it seems like the Kings, may be ahead. All of a sudden, the game gets tied. They only get 1 point. Thank goodness they get 1, but they can't get that second point in the overtime or the shootout. What's going on?
Well, I think it's several things. I think one is there are more teams in the Western Conference now that are having outstanding years than they did before. Surprise teams like Calgary is ahead of the Kings, and I don't think anybody expected they would have that kind of a year. All throughout the league. In the East, the Islanders are having a great year, and all of a sudden, everybody is bunched up pretty tight, trying to make that playoff spot. There are a few spaces where teams have had great years and they're pulling away from people, but the other thing is the Kings, and you got to stop to think about this, they have played over 400 games in 3 years, more than any team in the National Hockey League. And so longer seasons because of going to the Stanley Cup Final and shorter off seasons, and 3 years down the road, I think that starts to creep into the way you're playing. And are you exhausted from that type of play? The intensity of a Stanley Cup run last season, they played 26 extra games. That's a third of another season.
Unbelievable.
They've almost played one season more than some other teams in the league.
All right, that's a good point. That's something that people don't think about. Now, let's switch a little bit. I know you mentioned Wisconsin. You cut your teeth there broadcasting. I know you're a Wisconsin fan. I know your wife is from Wisconsin. I know that Green Bay lost a tough game football-wise. Now, what the heck? I hate to bring this up to you, but what happened there with Seattle coming back on this thing with the Packers?
Well, they had themselves to blame. They didn't cover that onside kick, and to allow that many points, especially that 2-point conversion, which is just the guy flings it up in the air and they don't play that right and knock it down. On the other hand, I definitely have a problem with the National Football League overtime. When the other team, in this case the Packers, when Seattle scores, they don't get to touch the ball. They don't get to go on offense. I don't know of any other sport where you go into overtime and one team simply gets to be on offense and the other team never gets to, and the game is over.
If it's a touchdown, they don't get it. If it's a kick, they get it. That's a dumb rule. It is a dumb rule. You should have the chance to take it back and go down the field.
What should have happened last week, in my opinion, Seattle scores the touchdown in the overtime. They kick off to the Packers, and if they stop the Packers on 4th down, the game is over. If the Packers go down and score a touchdown, you keep going.
I like
it. But each team has, in my opinion, has to get a chance on offense. You can't lose it by simply calling tails and the coin comes up heads.
Now, the NFL's got some problems going on. What about the deflated balls there of New England? What do you think?
Well, I've been hearing about it and reading about it. It's happened so often with New England that I have my doubts whether they didn't know what was going on. For a quarterback like Brady to say, well, feel the ball, I don't know what it feels like, is ridiculous. You know what it feels like. You know whether you're handling it well that day.
Exactly.
I don't buy that they're innocent in the whole thing. And if they do find out that it was done illegally, what are they going to do about it? What are they going to do? They've already fined the coach, $500,000 a couple of years ago.
2007, yeah.
It's interesting that it's always happened to this team. So something's going on in my
I
opinion.
think Belichick is a check, by the way. I don't know about that. All right, one last thing here, because I know I got to let you go. But 54 years broadcasting, 41 years with the King. Biggest changes in the game that you've seen from when you first started out till now? What do you see as a difference in hockey?
First of all, I think the speed now, the game is so fast now, much faster than it was when I started. And also players all over the ice, where when I started, defensemen stayed back at the blue line and you knew where they were. Now you look up and the defenseman's behind the net and everything else. The other big change is the influx of European players with names that sometimes I can't pronounce the way they pronounce it.
Exactly.
Because I don't have that dialect. I don't have that accent. But they're great players. But that's been a major change too, in my opinion. And the other big change, and I don't like it, is the way to score now, crash the net, and it's just a big jumble of players in front of the net, and the light goes on, and you have no idea who touched the puck. I liked it when it was a little more wide open, and a guy would shoot from the wing, and Guy Lafleur or Marcel Dion, and you'd see the puck go in and everybody celebrate.
That's why the 4-on-4 in overtime is sometimes fun. It's a little more wide open hockey.
Or even a 3-on-3. We had that in the last game.
That's true. Things you don't see. Bob Miller, what an honor. We congratulate you, everybody, for the Radio TV News Association's Lifetime Achievement Award this Saturday. I'm looking forward to hearing all about that from you. Check out the DVD, Voice of the King with Bob Miller. Thanks for being with us.
Mike, you've always been very gracious to me and had nice comments, and I appreciate it. Thank you.
You're the man, Bob.
Dreaming about a home makeover? It's easy to transform your home with deals on hardwood floors from Lumber Liquidators. Don't spend $5.99 a square foot this week at 3/4-inch solid Brazilian koa for an unheard of $2.99. Or go from dingy carpet to stylish hardwood in a weekend with easy-to-install 5-inch click hardwood. This week, it's only $2.19. Plus, deals on bamboo, laminate, and more from 49 cents. And get special financing. Get started on your dream home today. Visit LumberLiquidators.com to find a store near you.
As a retired teacher, I look for ways to save money for the things I love, like traveling the world. Medicare plans change each year. Fortunately, my HealthMart pharmacist helped me understand my insurance, saving me money on prescriptions. And they can help you too. My pharmacist cares about my health and the things I love, whatever that might be.
HealthMart, caring for you and about you. Visit healthmart.com for the locally owned pharmacy near you.
Private mortgage insurance, or PMI, can cost you thousands. But with the PMI Advantage from Quicken Loans, you may never have to pay those expensive monthly mortgage insurance premiums again. Hi, I'm Jay Farner, president of Quicken Loans, and I'm excited to tell you that the Quicken Loans PMI Advantage is our lender-paid mortgage insurance program. You see, we pay the PMI so you don't have to. Make the smart call and talk to one of our home loan experts today at 800-QUICKEN. You'll learn how the Quicken Loans PMI Advantage can give you more options, more flexibility, and may save you thousands when you refinance. And for 5 years in a row now, J.D. Power has ranked Quicken Loans highest in the nation in customer satisfaction. And this year, for the first time, they've also ranked us highest in mortgage servicing. To learn more, call us at 800-QUICKEN. That's 800-QUICKEN, or visit us at QuickenLoans.com.
Visit jdpower.com for award information. Important terms and conditions apply. Call us for cost information. Equal housing lender. Licensed law 50 states. And MLS number 3030.
PM Show Weekend Edition on CRN Digital Talk Radio. Thanks to Tomas for producing our show, Courtney Cadere, our executive producer, and to Bob Miller for being a guest here on the show. One of the great announcers. You can catch him, by the way, if you're in Southern California. He does the games on Fox Sports, and is one of the great guys. In the Voice of the Kings, you can catch that DVD, and you might want to call the LA Kings, the team's store, and not only get the Voice of the King, a show about his life, but get Jim Fox and Bob Miller calling the Kings Stanley Cup wins. Good stuff, and they are a great team together. Now, in the news, we got a lot of stuff going on. Kanye West says in there, he says he's been racially profiled by the police. He says he's arrested and charged with stealing printers from an Office Max back in 2000, and he said, all because of his braids. Apparently TMZ got a hold of Kanye's deposition in a case filed by a photographer who Kanye assaulted at LAX, and in the deposition, Kanye admits to being convicted of a felony and then recalls the incident where he says, and I'm quoting now, I was racially profiled for having a white t-shirt and braids. Kanye said the cops snagged him for allegedly stealing printers at an Office Max that was in Illinois, and then he gets sketchy about not explaining where the cops found him, but he does say at the time he was already a successful music producer. If there's missing Office Max, printers or whatever, who cares how you profile? If you stole the things, you took them out of the store. I don't get this. So we'll see what happens as this rolls out. Rosie Perez. She's got a distinguished group of Hispanic women blasting The View for allegedly making disparaging remarks against Rosie, and saying that they are both racist and sexist. The group referred to themselves as the Yo Soy Rosie, hashtag Yo Soy Rosie. They're responding to a View source who apparently spoke to the New York Daily News and said that Rosie, quoting now, is not the sharpest tool in the box. End of quote. And most recently, they told Variety that, again quoting, Ms. Perez can't read a teleprompter. End of quote. And so the group put out a letter obtained by TMZ that questions a woman's intelligence as an old stereotype that is sexist and, in this case, also racist. Are we going nuts with this stuff nowadays? Do you find that remark as racist just because you're not the sharpest tool in the box? People use that all the time.
Yes, they do, and sometimes you have to take a lot of things with maybe a couple pinches of salt.
Not so nowadays. It's become the, number one thing to go ahead and have lawsuits and sue things over. So it's like, just chill out. Kanye West, Rosie Perez, take it easy. Now, George Lucas. He is, Disney thinks the force is no longer strong with George Lucas because apparently, George says all his ideas for the new Star Wars films were tossed out the nearest airlock. They didn't like some of these ideas. In an interview with Cinema Blend, George Lucas was asked if he had come up with any ideas for Episode 7 before he sold Lucasfilm to Disney back in 2012. And George told the interviewer, the ones I sold to Disney, they came up to the decision that they didn't really want to do those, so they made up their own, so it's not the ones that I originally wrote. What do you think of that one?
Oh, Disney has the right. It's their project now.
That's true. And if they don't like the idea, they don't use it, right?
Exactly.
Come up with some more ideas. So, George says they're not the ones he originally wrote, and he wrote the first 3 Star Wars movies, the first 3 Indiana Jones movies, and now they're saying they're off. I met George Lucas. I like the guy. I hope he can come up with some fresh ideas that Disney will like. There are some changes, though, at corporate. I mean, you get to these suits, and sometimes they come up with different ideas. For example, I don't know, you may know this, you may not. TV Land is a very successful show called Hot in Cleveland. They're canceling it this year. All because they think it skews to an older audience, and they want young millennials. Now, here they have a hit show in Hot in Cleveland. They're probably going to replace it with some show that's, hot and bothered for the millennials that won't get a third of the ratings. I don't get that. I know the advertisers want certain demos, but there's certainly a lot of money in that millennial group as well.
Well, I think
that the Agent X or whatever they call it.
Yeah, but I think that people like to see interesting comedy stories about people, no matter who they are, how old they are.
I mean, the writing is so good. The delivery is great with that cast. I would think, that's what they said at the Rick Dees luncheon today. Rick Dees, of course, has been on TV doing things and had Into the Night many years ago, but he really cut his teeth on being a radio announcer. And radio has changed now so that if you listen in the morning, it's not really entertainment. People are trying to tell you about politics. They're trying to tell you about this, and it's just not entertaining. And they're saying that when you listen to Rick Dees, whether you were old, middle-aged, or young, he was a guy all age demos could listen to and still laugh and have a good time with. And you know what? Humor crosses across that line. So that may be the case. Leave humor alone when it comes to it. It does have a wide interest rate.
Exactly. I agree with you.
The voice of the great Tomas there, ladies and gentlemen. Now, Will Smith is in the news. Will Smith's latest movie going on. TMZ has pictures of a lunch that Will Smith catered for the cast and crew of Concussion, which is being filmed in Oxnard, California. And apparently, his craft services were serving the crew lobster tail.
Wow.
Now, that's pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
Huge lobster tails, filet mignon, prime rib, chicken, sausage, pastas, on and on. The crew went crazy. They love Will Smith. They say that he's the nicest guy they've ever worked with. Is that all it takes, is to serve lobster tail? Tomas, want to go to dinner with me tonight and I'll get you some lobster?
Sure, why not?
That's good, isn't it?
Love lobster tail.
The TV network TLC's Kickstarter campaign to make a new album of $5,000 is closer to its fundraising goal, thanks to to Katy Perry. Katy is such a big fan, she dug into her pockets and shelled out $5,000 for the cause. So one of the perks is a $5,000 donation to the Slumber Party in L.A., and so this is much more. We'll keep you posted on that one. We continue here on the PM Show Weekend Edition.
Kaanapali Beach Hotel, Maui's Hawaiian Hotel.
Located in the heart of Maui's premier resort, Kaanapali Beach Hotel is officially recognized as Hawaii's most Hawaiian hotel and the #1 best value in Hawaii. With a range of accommodations and affordable dining options, this is the ideal setting to turn Hawaiian dreams into lifelong memories. Live Hawaiian entertainment every evening, free year-round children's programs, weekly arts and crafts fairs, welcome breakfast, and departure kukui lei ceremonies add to the value. Swim in the whale-shaped pool, indulge in the fabulous spa and hotel salon. Enjoy Hawaiian hospitality at its best at the Kaanapali Beach Hotel. Call 800-262-8450 or go to kbhmaui.com. That's kbhmaui.com. Aloha.
Kaanapali Beach Hotel, Maui's Hawaiian Hotel.
Come to Angelo's and Vinci's Restaurante in Fullerton, California for our sizzling party savings. Book your wedding event or reception, your birthday bash, or a special event of any kind and celebrate at Angelo's and Vinci's. Come to Angelo's and Vinci's and celebrate in one of our many festive banquet rooms. It's an incredible fun event you'll never forget. Food, music, and lots of fun. Call for the details and don't forget our daily lunch and dinners, plus our Sunday champagne brunch. Just $14.95. Minestrone soup, sausage and peppers, pastas, chicken dishes, salads, scones, and muffins. Plus so much more, a chocolate fondue fountain, zeblis, cannolis, fresh fruit, champagne, and Junior will be waiting to make the omelet of your choice from our omelet bar. Angelo's and Vinci's has been voted on the Orange County Hot List as one of the top 5 Italian restaurants for the past 6 years. And don't forget our award-winning pizzas. Thin or thick, they're yummy. It's all at Angelo's and Vinci's Restaurante at 550 North Harbor Boulevard in Fullerton, California. Call 714-879-4022. 714-879-4022.
Here's some easy ways to save a buck or two.
Use cold water. Using cold water for laundry saves you about 50 cents per load on heating bills.
And 2 loads a week could mean saving up to $50 a year.
Turn off water while washing dishes. Just get them wet, scrub them, and then turn on the water. When you wash dishes this way versus using a dishwasher, at least once a day you can save 200 to 500 gallons of hot water per month. So that's real money, real savings.
AARP financial educator John Dauphiné.
Book your haircut at a local beauty school or barber school. And the student will be learning, but often they're quite talented.
Sometimes those cuts and perms are free, and they're supervised. Tip 4.
Ask your doctor for a 3-month supply of any prescriptions. That kind of a volume, it can save you money over ordering a prescription month by month.
Finally, see if getting your meds by mail is cheaper and if your insurance company offers that option. That's Primetime Focus, brought to you by AARP. I'm Aileen Ellis.
PM Show, Weekend Edition at CRN Digital Talk Radio. I'm Michael Horn. Thanks for joining us here on the broadcast. Justin Bieber in the news. He says this Comedy Central roast is therapy for him. The Biebs was asked to be skewered by Comedy Central because he wants to make a public declaration that he's screwed up a lot in the past and he's figured it out and he's changed for the better. TMZ first reported this. They said Justin Bieber himself asked to be roasted to celebrate his 21st birthday, and he says he views it as a form of therapy. So, acknowledging some of his hijinks he's had in the past, from the DUIs to, doing a number in the kitchen buckets, and Justin definitely seems to have changed over the last 4 months. People around LA tell us he's polite again, respectful, and extremely generous. So he apparently went to a restaurant in Los Angeles last Sunday night, Mazza Restaurant. Restaurant was full. Two guys saw him and gladly moved to the bar so he could have a table, and we're told that Justin walked up to thank them and then bought their dinner. So he was in line at a restaurant a few days back, and he randomly bought a meal for some people behind him. So people apparently who have had regular contact with Justin Bieber are saying that they've seen a radical change. As one person put it, and I'm going to quote now, "The person I knew is back," end of quote. So, and someone asked, why is the roast therapy? And apparently Justin thinks that the evening will end the chapter of his life where he messed up. He'll take his lumps and then move on to be a real adult. I hope that's the case.
So do I.
Because he's screwed up a lot. Lindsay Lohan is screwed up a lot, and she's going to use her mosquito defense again when she goes to court next week to announce that she's failed a second time to complete her community service. Now, our lawyer is worried about this because she could land in jail. From TMZ, they said Lindsay is due in court coming up Wednesday. She's got to prove she completed her community service in connection with her 2012 reckless driving case. That's where she slammed into that 18-wheeler on Pacific Coast Highway in Southern California. And she was required to perform 240 hours of community service. But November 6th of last year, when she was required to show the proof of completion, her lawyer said that Lindsay had completed nearly half the hours, so the judge set a second date for Lindsay to show proof of completion. That's next Wednesday. But where TMZ has learned that Lindsay isn't even close to finishing. Now, her excuse is that the community service center in London was closed for 2 weeks during the holiday, and she ended up in the hospital with the mosquito virus. That's what she's going to use. But the problem is she got the virus while vacationing in Bora Bora instead of putting in her time, and there's a bigger problem. She screws up a lot and has a lot of excuses. So this is going to be something coming up this Wednesday. Elton John, he apparently has bumped Britney Spears on her Vegas run by hauling in more than $500,000 a show. So Elton definitely in the driver's seat now. According to his deal, he gets 88% of the door for every show. He also has a sign-off on ticket prices. They range from $55 to $1,000 a ticket for VIP seats. And he's putting Britney Spears' $475,000 take on a show to shame because he's doing it with fewer seats. Apparently where he's at Caesars at the Coliseum, only seats 4,296. Britney's show at Planet Hollywood is 4,600. I don't care. I'd like to see both of those shows going to Vegas, wouldn't you?
Yes, I would.
Love to see the Britney Spears and the Elton John show. It's kind of a modern way of, they used to have Sinatra and those, the Rat Pack up there in Vegas. This is now a pretty good pop Rat Pack there with Britney Spears and Elton John. Show began Friday, is going to run through April 14th. If you're an Elton John fan and you go to Vegas. All right, we got to get out of here. Thanks so much for joining us. Thank you all for being here on the old broadcast beacon. Thanks to you, Tomas, for pressing the buttons. Thanks to Courtney Cadera for being our executive producer. If you missed anything, log on to our website, crntalk.com/the PM show. You can find out not only about me, but other co-hosts on the show, Larry Minetti, Fred Dreyer, Robert Conrad. They're all listed up there on that site. crntalk.com/the PM show. Have a great weekend. Barry Farber coming up soon. I'm Michael Horn saying have a good night.
Because that was your theme.
Are you tired of hearing your favorite talk radio show sound like this? What if you could hear your favorite shows in crystal clear, high definition digital sound? Well, with